The girl waited for the boy for 7 years. On this day, she finally met the one she loved. When she saw that familiar figure again, tears streamed down her face. After 7 years apart, they had endless things to say, and so many things left undone. The boy was also ready to take that step forward, because 7 years ago, no matter what, their love always stayed 10 centimeters apart. But now, the boy decided to close that distance for good. The boy's name was Haruki. His dream was to become a film director. Under the cherry blossom tree, he met a girl named Miou. He thought Miou looked as beautiful as the blossoms themselves. She too fell in love with the boy at first sight. Haruki would often secretly watch Miou draw. One day, his friends asked him, why not make Miou the heroine of his movie? Haruki said he had tried, but Miou wasn't very good at being in front of the camera. Every time the lens pointed at her, she would instinctively shy away. Her face flushed with embarrassment, but Miou also secretly watched Haruki, whether he was filming or just living his daily life. There were always people gathered around him. That was completely different from her solitary way of living. But after school, she and Haruki would go to their secret place, just the two of them. It was a flight of high steps. There, Haruki would share his everyday stories with her. Although Miou wasn't good at getting along with people, she felt different when she was with Haruki. She wanted to know what kind of music Haruki liked, what kind of movies he enjoyed, and she always wanted to be closer to him, to understand him. This feeling was new to Miou. She couldn't even tell if what she felt for Haruki was truly love, because Miou and Haruki often spent time together after school. Their classmates started to play pranks. They scribbled on the blackboard, saying the two of them were dating. Miou was caught off guard when Haruki entered the classroom and saw the scene. Faced with the teasing and laughter of the class, and with Miou standing frozen at the front, he clenched his fists. Then he shouted angrily at the classmates who were making fun of her. After that, he grabbed the eraser, wiped the words off the board, and told Miou, "Don't let it bother you." Although Miou wanted to brush it off, the more she tried, the harder it became. That was when she realized she was always watching him. Because of a short film Haruki had made, he won an award. The principal praised him in front of the entire school. That also earned him even more fans. As graduation drew closer, Haruki filled out his future plans in the office of Akechi-sensei, a friend of his older brother. Instead of writing university, he wrote the words film director. Haruki said that as long as he could win a prize in an international film competition, he would earn the chance to study abroad. At that moment, Akechi-sensei felt that Haruki was becoming more and more like his older brother, Chiaki. Meanwhile, Miu's friends asked her if she planned to go to an art university after graduation. Miu said she only wanted to keep drawing as a hobby. She wanted to attend a women's college, because graduating from there would make finding a job easier. When Miu and her friends returned to the classroom, Haruki overheard Miu's voice. He told her he might be busy until late that evening. Miu cheerfully said she would wait for him to finish. By dusk, Miu had fallen asleep at her desk. When she woke up, she realized Haruki had already finished his work. Because he didn't want to disturb her sleep, he had simply sat beside her, waiting quietly. Afterward, they left school together. Miu asked Haruki why he liked making movies. Haruki's answer was simple: because his brother Chiaki's dream was to be a director. He had been influenced by him, and he too wanted to become a great director. As they talked, their faces drifted closer and closer. Teenagers often felt nervous and shy when speaking this way. Miu didn't know why, but when Haruki leaned in, she instinctively turned her face toward him. Suddenly, Miu realized she had to say something, so she quickly asked Haruki if he liked anyone. Haruki gave a quiet then he turned the question back on her. Miu softly replied. Haruki knew that, besides him, no one else walked Miu home after school, and Miu thought the same. At that moment, the distance between their hands was only 10 centimeters, yet they never closed it. Soon summer vacation came. Since this was their last summer in high school, Haruki wanted to add painting into his film, and Miu, who loved to draw, naturally became the perfect choice to help bring Haruki and Miu closer together. Their friends planned an outing and invited them to watch fireworks. The thought of being alone with Haruki made Miu blush uncontrollably. She dressed herself carefully, wanting only to show him her most beautiful side. When Haruki saw Miu, he was instantly stunned, but the shy Miu couldn't even look straight at him. At the festival, their friends, as if by silent agreement, found excuses to slip away. Leaving the two of them alone, they sat together on a park bench. Miou began talking about her past. She said there had once been a man who saved her life. She had always wanted to see him again, but she never had the chance. Haruki didn't understand why she was telling him this, but he didn't think too much about it. At that moment, fireworks began to light up the night sky. To give Miou a better view, Haruki led her to a high platform. From there, the beautiful fireworks spread out before their eyes. Blushing with shyness, Haruki said that he hoped Mayu's art could be part of his movie. When people fall in love and things don't go well, their hearts feel heavy, like the dark of night, but with even the smallest change, their spirits soar. It's as if countless colors burst forth, making the whole world shine, just like the fireworks before their eyes. In that romantic atmosphere, their faces drew closer and closer again, but the sudden barking of a dog interrupted them. Though the sweet moment was broken, they couldn't help but laugh together. A few days later, Miou suddenly asked to break up. She gave no reason. This left Haruki confused and heartbroken, but it was at that very moment that he was offered the chance to study abroad. Even though studying overseas had always been his dream, he couldn't feel happy at all. He didn't understand why Miou had turned so cold. Akechi-sensei asked him if he had decided whether to go abroad. Haruki answered firmly that he would, but from the look on the boy's face, Akechi could see a trace of hesitation. Back at home, Haruki began to reflect on when exactly he had fallen in love with filmmaking. His brother Chiaki had once told him that his dream was to be a film director. Now, it seemed that Haruki was chasing Chiaki's dream instead. He couldn't help but question whether this was what he truly wanted. At that moment, Haruki fell into confusion. He tried to hold himself together, but it felt like he was being completely consumed by these negative emotions. Meanwhile, when Miou learned that Haruki was going abroad, she wrote countless drafts of text messages. She wanted to ask him if it was really true, but every time she was about to hit send, she deleted them. She felt that bothering him now might ruin his future. She thought about tearing up the drawing she had made for Haruki. That way, their relationship would have a natural ending, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't bring herself to rip those pages. The truth was, the reason Miou broke up with Haruki was this: when she was a child, she fell into the water, and the one who saved her was Haruki's brother, Chiaki. She only recently learned the truth. Chiaki had already been frail, and after saving her, his body grew weaker. Not long after, he passed away from illness. Mayu's heart was filled with guilt. She didn't know how to face Haruki. She couldn't shake the feeling that it was her fault Haruki lost his brother. To ease her emotions, she went with her close friends Mika and Hana to the studio where she often painted. While they were there, a little boy accidentally knocked a paintbrush onto Mayu's clothes. His mother hurriedly told him to apologize, but with tears in his eyes, the boy couldn't say a word. Miou wasn't upset at all. Instead, she picked the brush up from the floor, walked over to the boy, and patiently taught him how to draw. Slowly, the boy's sadness turned into joy. Not only that, kind-hearted Miou also helped others with their paintings, and so they spent a happy afternoon together. When the people in the studio reluctantly said goodbye to Miou, she suddenly buried her face in her hands and cried. She didn't even know why. She had just been so happy with everyone a moment ago. Hana told her, "The more you dwell on things, the easier it is to fall into depression." Then she hugged Miou tightly. Afterward, they went to a cake shop. There, Miou finally told Mika and Hana the whole story from the very beginning. Mika said it wasn't Mayu's fault. Hana asked if Haruki knew the truth. Miou shook her head. She knew Haruki had the right to know, but she didn't dare to tell him. She was afraid Haruki would end up hating her. Hana said, "It's normal to want to run away, but if you only avoid the truth, it might backfire. Haruki could be hurt even more by your silence." Miou thought of her time with Haruki. Those had been the happiest days of her life. Haruki had once told her that he wanted to include her drawings in his movie, and now she understood. She had to bring the painting to Haruki and confess everything. As for what the future might hold, she had no idea. Miou had finally sorted out her feelings, but Haruki, on the other hand, was in trouble. He hadn't come to class in days. The one time he did come, it was to tell Akechi that he didn't want to study abroad anymore. His reason was simple: "My dream isn't to be a film director." Akechi looked at Haruki's broken state and felt deeply sorry for him. He knew that only Miou could unlock Haruki's heart, so he suggested Haruki go and talk to her. Before leaving, Akechi added one more thing: "When I went to visit Chiaki's grave, I saw Miou there." Akechi's words left Haruki conflicted, just as he was hesitating over whether to find Miou. A message arrived from her. "I'll be waiting for you at our usual place. Whether you come or not, I'll always be waiting." The sky was filled with haze, and snowflakes began to fall. Haruki steadied his emotions, put on his coat, and hurried out the door. The snow fell harder and harder. He could only run the whole way, though he was still hurt that Miou had suddenly broken up with him. He couldn't bear the thought of her waiting alone in the freezing snow. When he finally saw Miou, he wanted to speak, but no words came out. After a moment of silence, he told Miou to hurry home. Then he turned to leave, but Miou called out to him and told him the truth. After listening, Haruki finally felt relieved. All along, he had thought he had done something wrong. That's why Miou had broken up with him. He blamed her for not telling him sooner, because if he had known, he wouldn't have sunk into self-doubt. He wouldn't have realized that he had only been chasing Chiaki's dream, becoming a director, studying abroad. Those had all been Chiaki's dreams. Only now did he understand. He had been imitating his brother this whole time. At that moment, he felt like breaking down. He didn't know what he was living for anymore. He had lost all sense of a future. Even when he lifted his viewfinder now, his mind went blank. He felt like a complete fool, seeing Haruki in such despair. Miou couldn't hold back. She slapped him across the face. Then she told him this was his dream, because Miou had seen him before. The way he looked when filming with full concentration, filled with confidence. That confidence was exactly what chasing a dream should look like. Miou believed this wasn't just Chiaki's dream, it was Haruki's dream as well. Then Miou took out the painting she had made. It was the one she had once promised to appear in Haruki's film. A painting filled with the taste of first love. If Haruki's brother hadn't saved her, she would never have met Haruki, and never have drawn that painting. Miou believed it was Chiaki who had helped Haruki find his true dream. Her words instantly unlocked Haruki's heart, because the weather was too cold. The two of them went to Haruki's house. There, Miou took out a videotape Akechi had given her, and played it. On the screen, a childhood Haruki spoke with Chiaki. Young Haruki told his brother that his dream was to become a great director, to make many amazing films. From then on, Miou wholeheartedly supported Haruki in pursuing his dream, and Miou herself chose to become an art teacher, because she felt joy in teaching others to draw. It was also her way of giving her youth a perfect ending. Before his flight, Haruki didn't let Miou come to see him off. He typed a message, "Please wait for me," but no matter what, he couldn't bring himself to send it. After all, studying abroad, who knew how many years it would take? Suddenly, a message came from Miou. "I'll always be waiting for you." In the blink of an eye, 7 years passed. Miou was satisfied with her work now. Her life was full and stable, but sometimes she still wondered if back then, the distance between them had closed by just 10 centimeters. Would the ending have been different? 7 years ago, her story had been tightly bound to Haruki's. Days without him gradually became her everyday life. Sometimes she wondered if Haruki had forgotten her, but then, a familiar voice suddenly called out. Her 7 years of waiting had not been in vain. When Miou saw that familiar figure again, tears filled her eyes. Haruki had grown more mature and handsome than before. This time, he had come back to bring his youth to a close. He had won an award at an international film festival. Through all those 7 years, he had wanted only one thing: to see Miou again. And now, he had returned just to give the girl who had always supported him a firm and final answer, no matter what. Their love had always been separated by 10 centimeters. But now, Haruki was ready to close that gap. In their story, the greatest distance was never the ends of the earth. It was 10 centimeters, but that 10 centimeters was the distance of youth itself. It was their obstacle, their momentary confusion. As long as the light in their hearts never went out, as long as they held onto their passions and the people they cherished, one day, they too could reach out and close that little distance.